want to talk Dark Tower?
Yeah, let's start talking Dark Tower.
So this is a reimagining slash sequel to Dark Tower from the 80s. I don't know if anybody's played that here. It's really...
No.
It's hilarious. It's like a big calculator and like a giant black tower casing, and it's like, it beeps like Morse code at you to tell you how many warrior. It's so funny. And very groundbreaking for the time. So this is a super duper modern updated version of that. And another big difference, it's cooperative. So we are all working together to complete the main quest that's on the board and summon the big bad.
Uh-oh.
So the big bad in this game is going to be Utuku the Ice Herald. He's very scary.
I should set up a...
He's magic. So you'll see all the foes that are currently on the board. These are the guys we're going to be fighting over the course of the game. The big bad, though, is Utuku the Ice Herald. He is going to be summoned onto the board for us to fight.
Actually,
when we
probably
complete.
looks better on the table.
We'll keep it on the table. God, it's already off to a rough start, man. So on the board, I don't know how easy this is to see, but down in Eric's Kingdom, there is a big spooky main quest marker that has a dungeon on it. We need to defeat that dungeon. There's going to be 2 other subsequent dungeons that unlock that we need to defeat. When we've defeated all 3, we are able to summon this big bad guy and try to fight him to the death. That is how we beat the game, is by defeating that big bad. So, ways we die, ways we fail. There are 6 months in this game. The first month is just 1 round. It's sort of freebie. There's no other quests to do. We just basically kind of get a flow, a vibe on the board.
Cool.
And then months always vary in length. It's kind of random. It's hard to say. So there's always this tension that the month is going to end. We go each one at a time, and then we put a skull into the tower when we're done with our turn. The tower then kind of takes a turn and might summon some events. Some foes might strike. We're going to need to deal with it, but the app's going to tell us everything we need to do. Ways we lose are if we get to the end of month 6 and we haven't defeated the big foe. If we get too many corruptions. Corruptions are what you get when you lose a battle or can't resolve an effect from a foe. So if any one of us were to get 3 corruptions, the game is over. Also, you'll see on the board here, there's a supply of skulls. These are the things that we feed into the tower at the end of our turn. If ever that supply is empty and we need to put a skull on the board, game's over. So we have to keep our eye on the skull economy to make sure that there's enough skulls.
There's not a whole lot of skulls in here.
Yeah, we're going to want to do some cleansing, which is how we get skulls back into the supply, and we'll go over that in a bit. Let's talk turns real quick.
Okay.
This is super easily laid out for us to follow. Everybody at the start of your turn, you have a banner action that you can take if you choose to. So at the beginning of the game, there's really no reason not to. I forgot to mention, another way you get a corruption is if any of these buildings ever get a 4th skull. 3 skulls are removed permanently from the supply, the building is destroyed, and the building, the region that the building is in, that player gets a corruption. So that out of the game, those skulls are out of the game, and a corruption is added.
And
so
corruption is real bad.
Yes, corruptions make the game way harder. You can clear them by going to sanctuaries and doing a reinforce action before we get to those. But, don't want the buildings to get destroyed, so we really want to keep our eyes on those skulls and how many there are in each building. Another thing I forgot to mention, if ever we needed to move double, if we needed to get somewhere faster, you can spend 1 spirit to double your move. Another thing, since I'm starting the game, we're going to rotate player 1 at the start of every month. I'm going to kick us off as player 1, so I have been given the companion for our main quest, which is Tomas the Scout. Tomas means that I basically don't need to spend 1 spirit to double my movement. So my movement right now is automatically 6 as long as I have Tomas.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep. I also get 2 stealth advantages with Tomas as well. And as the game goes on, similarly to how foes in the tower can act, our little allies can act as well and give us good things. So as the game goes on, there's going to be more opportunities for us to quest and get allies. We're going to want to get allies because they're super, super, super helpful in this game. Thomas is kind of our main quest giver sidekick. And our main quest is going to be to clear 3 dungeons from the board. Every time we clear one, another one is going to randomly spawn on another part of the board. We resolve these dungeons, and then that gives us the ability to summon the big bad. These actions in the middle of the board, this is the meat of your turn, and you can kind of do them in any sequence. Movement of 3 for all of us, movement of 4 for you. You have to decide before you move if you want to spend a spirit to double your movement. You can't do it partway through your move, so make that choice. And then...
But you can do other actions in the middle of moving, right?
Absolutely, yes. So, for example, say I want to go down to this village. I have a movement of, I have a movement of 6 with Tomas, so I can go 1, 2, you just move to adjacent pieces. And then once I'm at the village, I can choose to do a reinforce action and then go 3, 4, 5, 6. So like you can split it up, right?
Right.
So movement buttressed between your other actions as you prefer. The first action, which is super important, is called a heroic action. These are the 3 big actions of the game that are going to keep us alive. The first is cleansing. So when you do the cleanse action, you have to do it on a space with a building with skulls. You take those skulls off, you return them to the supply, and then you gain 2 spirit for your trouble. Another heroic action is to battle. So if you're in a space with a bad guy, you can choose to battle that bad guy. We go through a whole battle sequence. Once you resolve that battle sequence, you get 2 spirit for your trouble. Cool. Also, questing. So questing is, we're going to have different quests on the board as the months go by. That counts as a heroic action. These markers are going to tell us when and where these different quests take place.
Okay.
So the companion quest is going to pop up, and it's always going to give us the option to get a companion if we complete it. So again, we're going to want to try to do those and get more companions on our side. The adversary quest is always going to show up, and it's going to be something that's a little harder to achieve, but if we don't achieve it, the game is going to get a lot harder. The foe, the big bad, is going to get more power. So we're going to want to try to resolve both quests every month. If we don't, it's not like world ending, but it'll make life a little bit harder if we don't.
Okay.
Okay? Cool. So when you complete a quest, you also get 2 spirit for your trouble. So one way to gain spirit in this game, which is used as kind of a currency, is to complete these heroic actions, gain your spirit. The other action you can do is called a reinforce action. This is based on buildings. So in the game, we've got a citadel, a sanctuary, a village, and a bazaar. One for each kingdom, until they get destroyed by skulls, of course.
Of course.
So on the citadel, let me put it this way. Every building has 1 free action and 1 action that you pay for. So on the citadel, a free action is that you gain a potion. Potions are basically just little free, be nice perk things. You can spend them at any time and resolve their effects. So this, the potion of dragon teeth, you'd spend it and you'd get 6 warriors for free.
Okay.
And they're all like that. It's like, oh, you can move a hero up to 3 spaces for free. Oh, you can gain a spirit. Oh, you can get a free wild advantage. They're just nice little perks. The pay thing that you can do on Citadel is paying 5 spirit to unlock one of these virtues. So these virtues that have chains on them, those are virtues that as the game goes on, you might want to consider unlocking because they make your hero more powerful. Next up is Sanctuary. Sanctuaries are really important because the thing you pay for at Sanctuaries, 5 spirit to clear all your corruptions. So if you've got 1 corruption, you're going to want to get to a Sanctuary and clear it. If you've got 2 corruptions, we need to drop everything and get you to a Sanctuary because if you get a 3rd, the game is over.
Right.
The freebie at the Sanctuary is just a free spirit. Village. Village is where you get warriors. Also, we can go to anybody's building in any region. We can cross these rivers. We don't have to stay in our own region.
And it doesn't cost anything extra to cross a river. It's still an adjacent
There's
space.
a quest that turns the rivers into fire, and then it costs villagers, but we're not playing that quest.
That'll
so.
be fun.
Yeah, totally. So village, you get free 6 warriors, or you can pay 1 spirit to get 12 warriors. Then there's the Bazaar, which we're probably going to be visiting a lot. The Bazaar, the freebie at the Bazaar is you can gain one of these gears. Gears are just permanent buffs that you add to your hero.
These guys.
Yeah, it's like a free melee advantage, a free magic advantage, a free stealth advantage. There's leather armor that prevents up to 2 warrior losses per battle card. You can increase your base movement by 1, or this one's kind of cool too. After you reinforce, remove 1 skull from the building of your space. That's a free skull off the board. You reinforce at a different building. So gear is nice. You know, gear is free. Gear is helpful. It's not a game changer, but it's good to have. There are also certain fights and certain dungeons that might cost you gear, so sometimes it's good to just have a little bit of gear as a buffer.
Because if you have to lose something and you can't,
right,
corruption.
You get a corruption. Exactly. So the Bazaar's payment action is that you pay 2 spirit and you gain a treasure, which are over here. The treasures are basically gear, but much more powerful. So right now, we've got a marketplace of 3 treasures. That will change as the game goes on. As we buy treasures, we replace them. So the first treasure in the marketplace right now is the magic carpet, which is f***ing amazing. Once per turn, your hero can spend 1 spirit to teleport to any space on the board. Super helpful. Also, when you have this treasure, you get 1 magic advantage permanently while you're holding on to it. Again, like gear and potions, there are effects that foes can do to make the treasure go away. The Lamp of Hope, when you cleanse, you can remove skulls from any space, not just the one that you're on. That's a +1 magic advantage. And this last one's great. you can take the banner action of any hero in the game instead of yours.
What?
Real cool. And gives you a +1 melee advantage. These are all black backgrounds, so it means that as long as you're holding them, it's a permanent advantage. But there are also treasures that have gray backgrounds. You can spend those treasures to get advantages more. Like, if I'm fighting something that has a stealth advantage, there might be a treasure where I can spend it, and I get 4 stealth advantages for that fight.
Yeah, just for the one-time bonus.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great. Also, last thing I promised for this section is the Haggle Die. The Haggle Die. When we're in a bazaar, and we're actually, is that?
I think
it's any
reinforced
building.
action,
That's right.
yeah.
Any reinforced action, we can roll this. That means I get a free gear. That's pretty cool, right? That means I get a free potion. That's pretty cool, guys. This means I get free 3 warriors. Why wouldn't I always roll the Haggle Die?
Yeah, why?
Well, because you might get the Bazaar Keeper who's folding his arms angrily, and that means that nothing happens. The reinforce is canceled. There's 2 of him. There's also 1 empty one, which means everything just goes normal.
Right.
So you got a 2 in 6 chance, or if you're doing math, a 1 in 3 chance of getting this guy, which is bad news because it means you've wasted a reinforce action. But if you feel like rolling the dice, you can maybe get some cool advantages by doing so. There is also a treasure, I'll spoil this a bit, that basically prevents you from getting the Folded Arms Bazaar Keeper. Worth getting that treasure. Also, we have a max of 4 treasures per
Can't
person.
remember if I put in a buff pertaining to that.
Oh, I hope so.
I can't remember.
I really hope you did. That would be
Not
very
sure.
nice. Also, when we're on the same space as each other, we can trade any resources we have. So if I'm on the same space as
Right.
Kyle, I can give him all my warriors, all my spirit.
And that's a free thing on either player's turn.
Yes, you get to do it once per turn with one other person, but I can give you treasures, I can give you companions, I can give you spirit. I can
And is
give-
it has to be your turn for you to give me stuff?
Nope. We can
either
exchange
direction.
as long
Okay.
as we're exactly. You just have to be on the space as the same person. Cool. Do you want to get started?
I think so.
All right.
And
Do it.
guys, this tower isn't just for looks. This thing's gonna do cool throughout this game.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So-
I'm very excited.
It's also periodically like I don't know how well you can see this.
It's lighting up with LEDs.
There's little lights down at the bottom that are
A
just
blast.
pulsing.
Oh yeah.
It's
Oh, yeah.
occasionally gonna just make noises for no f***ing reason.
It's the most frightening Bluetooth speaker I've ever seen in my life. All right, I'm scared. I mean, I'm scared, guys, but let's do this.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you like that, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and most importantly, go on over to twitch.tv/BnBTabletop and give us a follow there. We play board games live every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time on a show we call The Board and Barrel. And it's a very interactive broadcast. We have house rules that you guys can influence throughout the course of the game, virtual bingo, you can bet on who's gonna win. It's a lot of fun, and I look forward to seeing you there.